Josh Jones celebrates with Jaire Alexander. Copyright Cary Edmondson-USA. Today SportsEvery. NFL coach recites it like it was proclaimed in the Bible. Each NFL player has taught this answer in case some interviewer brings up the question. Don't believe it for a second. Injuries are no excuse. If you've got any smarts at all, you know that's not true. Injuries probably account for the unpredicted rise or fall of at least half of NFL teams in any given season. It certainly explains the mediocre performance of Mike Pettini's pass defense in 2018. In 2017, the Packers finished 22nd in yards given up, and 26th in points allowed. Pettini fans, myself included, were expecting notable improvement this season. Instead, the team wound up 18th and 22nd respectively, not the 10-spot jump I was looking for. Statistics readily identify the primary reason for these small gains. At the start of the season, the Pack had 5 safeties on the 53-man roster: Clinton Dix, Kentrell Brice, Jermaine Whitehead, Josh Jones, and Raven Green. The cornerbacks were Tramon Williams, Kevin King, Davon House, Josh Jackson, and Jaire Alexander. Haha was traded away on October 30th. We were lucky to get a 4th-round pick from the Redskins. An NFL team can afford to lose 1, or maybe 2, cornerbacks or safeties for a good part of the season, and bring in reserves to be the next men up. Green Bay's situation was much worse than that in 2018, especially at safety. December 9, 2018, Green Bay, Wisconsin, USA. Green Bay Packers cornerback Bashaud Breeland, 26, is lifted up by safety Kentrell Brice, 29, after recovering a fumble in the 4th quarter during the game against the Atlanta Falcons at Lambeau Field. Mandatory credit, USA. Today sports safeties. In terms of safeties snap counts, Kentrell Brice, though much injured, led the group by being on the field for 61% of the defensive snaps. Trailing him were Josh Jones, 47, 43, and Whitehead. Jermaine Whitehead was a primary fill-in, getting 21% of the snaps prior to him being ejected against the Patriots for slapping a guy in the face mask after the play. The Packers released him 2 days later, and he got some spot playing with the Browns the rest of the season. I'm okay with the sacking of Brian Bostic, and even with that of Ty Montgomery, but this one seemed harsh and unwarranted. Ibrahim Campbell, who's knocked around the league for 4 years, joined Green Bay after stints in 2018 with the Cowboys and the Jets. He's in on 11% of the snaps on the season. Eddie Pleasant, an 8-year NFL vet, was signed in November after being let go by the Cardinals earlier in the month. He got 8% of the snaps. Finally, Raven Green, an undrafted free agent in 2018, started the season slated to be the primary safety substitute. Unfortunately, he got only 43 defensive snaps on the season. An ankle injury sent him to the IR on December 8. By the way, he edged out Marvin Evans for that final roster spot, with Evans going to the Seahawks practice squad for the whole year. November 25, 2018, Minneapolis, Minnesota, USA. Green Bay Packers inside linebacker Antonio Morrison, 44, and cornerback Tramon Williams, 38, tackle Minnesota Vikings wide receiver Stephon Diggs, 14, in the second half at U.S. Bank Stadium. Mandatory credit, Dan Powers via USA Today Network. Cornerbacks. The attrition of the cornerbacks was also high, though not quite as bad. Of all people, Williams took 99.5% of the defensive snaps. House went down almost immediately, with a shoulder injury, and was placed on IR on September 25. Injury-prone King was injured early and often, then ended his season in Week 9 with a hamstring injury. He took 29% of the snaps. Jaire Alexander fought through injuries to play 71% of the snaps, and Josh Jackson went for 67%. In case you've forgotten, Davon House started the train wreck by going on IR on September 25 with a shoulder injury. One bright spot for the team was the signing of free agent Bashaud Breeland, a 4-year starter with the Redskins, in late September. Breeland started 5 games, played on 31% of the snaps, had 20 tackles, 4 passes defended, and 2 interceptions, including a pick-6 against Matt Ryan. Without this pickup, things would have been much worse for the Packers. Tony Brown was another needed addition to the team. After starting the year on the practice squad, on September 29 he was brought up to the active roster. He wound up playing in 11 games, starting in 3, and taking 27% of the season's snaps. He totaled 34 tackles, 5 passes defended, and 2 forced fumbles, and that without the benefit of being at Green Bay's training camp after he was waived by the Chargers on September 1. Will Redmond and Natrell Jamerson were the 16th and 17th DBs who made the roster by season's end. I'm pretty sure that's the highest such number in the league. Injuries are a huge factor in NFL standings on the year. CB's House, King, and Redmond wound up on IR, as did safeties Green and Campbell. Many others played despite their injuries. By any measure, such a level of attrition is going to greatly weaken a team's defense. Just to test out the theory that injuries to defensive backs spoiled Mike Penny's debut with the Packers, I looked at the 4 NFL teams with the best pass defenses in 2018. Buffalo had the year's best pass defense. Its top 4 DBs played on 195, 87, and 41% of the team's defensive snaps. Next best was Jacksonville. Their top 4 DBs had snap counts of 198, 87, and 66%. Minnesota was third, with its top DBs coming in at 99, 74, 67, and 60%. Arizona had minimal injuries with DBs, allowing its top 4 to be in on 199, 85, and 84% of the plays. Only Minnesota's numbers were comparable to those of the Packers' top 4 DBs, 100, 71, 67, and 61. But the Vikes had 4 legitimate DB stars, 3 of whom stayed mostly healthy: Harrison Smith 99% of defensive snaps, Xavier Rhodes 74%, and Trey Waynes 67%. The 4th star, Andrew Sendejo, played every snap through the first 5 games, before a groin injury ended his season. Final thought: that Buffalo defense in 2017 was led by a guy they had just picked up for peanuts. He made the Pro Bowl that year, and he had another decent campaign in 2018 to 58 tackles, 5 passes defended, and 2 interceptions. And this acquisition has only missed 1 game in his 6-year career. How different might things have been had the Packers not discarded Micah Hyde?